Hello everyone, I'm Coyote Jack, and I saw the news of this one, and I have to say that they fuck up. Yeah, the developers already or not, they built their goodwill based on giving a shooter that is based on the original SWAT game from 2000s for that covered a SWAT team encountering a lot of situations that you could say, yeah, this shit can go south at any moment. And this is necessary for holding the law. At least vortex scenarios that they are showcased there. And these developers they decided to cock themselves out for consoles because if you release on console, they're going to force you to censor on PC. And that's because they don't want anyone seeing that the PC release is far superior. And even though PC already is a superior platform, they don't want to see those potential sales being destroyed because people are saying, hey, but the PC release is better, it's uncensored. So they forced to everyone to have the same toned down version, and these developers knew what they were doing. So we have this post from Pirate Nation. Ready or not, it's adding a censorship update to censor nudity and gore more prior to its console release. So we are going to read what we have here. So, Ready or Not Development Briefing Volume 87. New SWAT animations and console content changes. So, attentions officers. Welcome to the 87th edition of our Ready or Not Development Briefing, June 27th of current year. The clock is ticking and the Ready or Not soul release for July 15 and our console players are already stacking up. We remain locked in at delivering to the best console release we can with the accompanying free Los Sueños Stories update for PC. Um, they are going to see how things goes out. So speaking of which, there are a variety of animation changes that have been made for SWAT. These new animations will continue to be tweaked as time goes on, considering the vast amount added. Also, in this briefing, we will outline some limited changes that have been made to the game for console. Like this is being highlighted here because it's already giving you red flags. So we're going to read what we have. So, be equal or basically equal for multiplayer to work. Different versions of assets affects multiplayer replication. So, this means that is translation within developer to the player base. We need to censor because consoles demand to us, and we don't want to put the effort into making two different versions. So, yeah, translations we are lazy, and nah, maybe we could say they are not lazy, but they really want to say, yeah, we are censoring everything to the lowest common denominator of consoles. So yeah, they are already telling you how things are going. So which is the ability for the server to understand what happens in the games and host players in the same lobby server. So look at this. So this one is in this case it's true, but these fuckers are liars because they are lying by omission. Sure, they're telling you, oh, we need to make these changes to keep it in pair here, and we need to because we have a multiplayer function here, we need to keep it in pair so the updates are consistent. So they are telling the truth in that case, but because they are telling you, yeah, we are doing these changes because console is forcing us to censor the PC release also. So they are backstabbing the customers that they made with this game on Steam. Oh, we are reading what they have censored. So dismemberment, also known as gore. So players induced dismemberment still has a large presence in the game, but is a little more limited as when it occurs. Mm. When alive enemies are shot, they can undergo dismemberment. However, once they are dead, no further dismemberment occurs. So even I have to highlight this. So you have Gears of War on Xbox. It is releasing on Xbox. You have dismembered even when the body is dead. You can still shoot it with a shotgun and dismember the body. Whenever it's you against the locust or the locust against the humans if you are on PvP. And they also, yeah, I know they have censored, but they toned down the blood and the level of dismemberment, of the dismemberment is still there. So this fucker's telling you, yeah, even the console that glorifies gore, they are still censoring. Well, I know that the console has been censoring sexy females, cute and funny, and all of the risky content. And also they have been cracking down on gore, which we warned that this was happening with console. That's why you don't release your games on console anymore. You are going to censor, but these fuckers decide to do that anyway. And they, in the process, they ended up backstabbing their audience. So, well, let's continue. So, gorgeous membrane effects are still gruesome to communicate the dismal reality of the deadly force. And this statement right here. So, because once excuse me if I didn't read this one already. However, once they are dead, no further dismemberment occurs. But they are saying, oh, but because this is the law of enforcement, this is not, we can allow this to happen because of my realism. Bitch, in that context, it's a fucking video game. You are in fictional like scenarios. It's fictional content. You're pushing realism because you are inspired by, well, real nasty situations that have been covered by SWAT teams across the U.S. And also, you can also cover out some cases when there are other countries that they have to do deal with nasty shit. And you're saying, yeah, but only because it was a mechanic that was kind of there and players were kind of enjoying it there. Hey, I have to tell you, even if for fictional content, a pedophile or a cartel member, they would gladly do the same shit as in Years of War when they are even already dead. Because, yeah, even among fictional media, they do want to do nasty shit to those fuckers. Both real life and fictional content. So you're telling this, oh, because this is a deadly force, we really need to censor. Yeah, you're already noticing how cock they are. So let's continue. Yet somehow let's get to sure since ultimately we consider this an okay compromise considering on gameplay design already dissuades use of lethal force anyway. But well, if even if I want that fucker to provoke me to use lethal force, and well, we're dealing with one fuckers with guns. You know, it's not like someone it is like, yeah, he's unarmed. Yeah, those situations you can say, yeah, the user wants to go full silly in that case. But still, you are in full scenarios where you need to check your corners because you have a lot of situations where all of the fucking hostiles, the tangos, are armed to the teeth and they want going to make you dead. So, is your best case is to avoid that. And sure, you are given the options to make them surrender when you display it actual force. But if they refuse to do that, well, they are going to do it that anyway. And well, the player base, they would rather use that one just for the lols. So you're kind of telling them that yeah, you are dictating how they should play your game instead of how those players they should enjoy your game. But let's continue because it doesn't stop there. Some characters are involving torture were toned down to slightly to be less over the top. For example, the torture police informant on Narcons is still covered in fresh wounds and blood, but is a bit less so. I have to tell you this. For real life situations, if you pay attention to Mexican news, you are seeing mayors from cities and states being dismembered, being beheaded, and displaying their corpses on broad daylight. You have dismemberers and actual fucking genocides and being displayed like a way of force because yeah, the cartels are that ghoulish, the cartels are that evil, and they do that all in the name of money. So you're saying, oh, they tortured a police informant, but they need to tone it down. It's like you yourself saying, yeah, in fictional content we shouldn't portray narcos as the ghoulish species of shit they are, even though, yeah, if you're going to go over the top, you should go over the top. You're on PC. You should not censor yourself, especially when in this case, yeah, narcos are. If you're going to sure make them in a fictional story, in a fictional content, yeah, they are fucking ghoulish, and you are kind of telling you, we need to tone it down because we didn't want to see them as gruesome. It's just fucking stupid, you know. This is what censorship does, and Loki telling you other stuff when with the actions of these developers. And also, let's not forget that they are also well crippling. They are vandalizing a product that they have already sold to customers, that they supported them, that they built a fan base. But let's continue because we are here at nudity. Some instances of explicit nudity for a handful of civilians and one suspect, Jaras Gilly suit only scantily concealed himself, have been covered up a bit more. You're going to have such encounters. Well, yeah, you are going to encounter with armed struggles, smugglers, with hostages that they're going to be fully naked, especially if they're women, because yeah, like we know across all those reports that get declassified, well, declassified years later. Yeah, that shit, man. I know those law enforcement they can encounter with disgusting shit, and not only for the US, many other countries when they need to, well, enforce the law because things have gone too far. And you're telling you, oh, we cannot show them their nipples, even though their clothes they got destroyed because these fucking criminals did disgusting shit to them. Even though it's like kind of a fitting aspect of said game because yeah, you know what I'm trying to say here? They are not consistent in what they're doing, and this is all because of console. So let's continue. Explicit representations of violence, mistreatment against children. And I have to tell you this: if you have to put an scenario like that, well, even if you end up shooting fucking pedophile, but well, you can do it yourself. Yeah, everyone would rather escalate the situations and make it a pedophile if there is arm to try to shoot you so you can actually put a bullet in the head because yeah, I know even in real life those law enforcements, if they encounter disgusting shit in said apartment of said pedophile, they would rather have that option to do that shit to their face. Because even with the about the contest, yeah, they're going to find way later that way later because if their PCs are actually have that material and all the IP track record it has, yeah, you are going to encounter not many problems with said investigation. At least that's my opinion, and I can be proven wrong in that part, but still, you're going to, for fictional content based on like kinda of real life, if it is a situation when children are harmed, yeah, you have to go full over the top because those situations, oh man, even the third world, you are seeing some nasty shit when some fucker have some children within the nine of the children is already bleeding, man. Yeah, it's disgusting, but it's what it is. It's real life, but if you're taking inspiration, you go over the top. And I have to say that is at the end of the day, this game is fiction. You could say it's based on real, like kind of on real life stories, or inspired in, well, actually real life situations. Yeah, you should go over the top because at this point, it's an already full adult game. And doing this shit, yeah, it's already telling you you are cocking yourself out, and they're doing it way later, only because of consoles. So you have this one, and you're going to end it with this one. That's from Boradark. Well, I forgot to give it like here. So after apologizing over a quote unquote offensive absence found in Ready or Not, and changing content after a Shitaku complaint, a Shitaku game urinalist That I have to bring up when I did that video of Kirsha when she got that partnership tarnished by those fucking developers from that crime boss game. So only because they decided to listen to a fucking Truni that claimed himself that really wanted to do disgusting shit to women, bragging about it on social media. Well, it was not on social media. It was a record from Discord, and that fucking Truni claimed that they wanted to do the same thing to Kirsha. Those developers sided with the fucking Truni, and they lost everything. So with reading this one, so they decided to do like the same shit, and now it's the censorship now, because Baradar also mentions, and now the developers are censoring even more nudity and gore prior to its console release. So what is censor is this shit? So another game asset highlighted by Shitaku piece is a red pill, well, quote unquote red pill box in a trash can with quote unquote noggin joggers listed on the top of the box. And Shitaku author Iran Guy, so an homosexual, not surprised there, explains his interpretation of these jokes and links to a theory that this could be a reference to an apparently unrelated racist meme. Some Radiohead listening to the same shit. They repeat the same fucking NPC shitty talking points they only can come out with their mind. And once again, these developers decide to cock themselves out with this fucking not necessary. You should know your fucking audience. But while we are at this point of our 20s, of course, the insinuation that these in-game assets could be related to racism is a concerning issue. Even I think the SWAT team they have encountered calls that are kind of related to Ku Klux Klan shit. It's kind of fitting if they are going to put some racism there. If that's one, if they are going to behave some black guy or there are blacks behaving white guys, if that's a scenario for those games, yeah, racism, like I said, is there's no such a thing as reverse racism. It's just blatantly racism. And if they are using that in the context that yeah, you have criminals that have this kind of mindset, and yeah, at least you are making it in a way that I know that well, it's kind of the cases that they found. I could believe it. I would not bitch about it. But well, this Shitaku developer decided to nag a just a fucking piece of cardbox in a trash can only because they were red pill. Yeah, at that point how kind of these artists, these developers are. And I just going to end it with this one. So, well, Yogecha said, one of the benefits of the PC platform is you can release stuff uncensored more easily than on console. You can release full hentai and porn games. I remember when I played Bone Town years ago. So, but continue on. Doing this completely nullifies the benefit and causes the exact opposite of excitement. Sad to see Journal still holds so much weight, the sway, despite their nonsense quote unquote opinions. The thing is, those fuckers, the opinions were all shit, dog shit. They always have been. The thing is, those developers still want to listen to them. They, at this point, even I'm not going to fucking blame the game urinalist. I know he's a piece of shit, and you should never listen to them. It's the developer's fault for listening to them instead of their actually core audience that is putting food in their table. And just because of that, I hope it's worth it because if those console sales are not as big as PC, yeah, you're not going to get money anymore. You're going to end up with the same destiny as that crime boss game with Kirsha. You are you fuck around and you're going to find out. And I know days later we are going to actually find out how these developers are having regret issues. Well, anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching and please take care.